we're still talking about governance. You cannot have power. You cannot know how to use power if you don't know the systems of governance. So it's very important for you to understand the systems of governance and the structures which control government. And we have been talking about the throne of government. There's a video done called The Throne of Government. Go and watch it before you understand this one, this video which I'm about to do. We are doing this video is talking about the corporate government. And we say that there are 7 pillars of any government or any kingdom. And this, we're going to see how the 7 pillars of the kingdom affect the corporate government. It's very important to understand that the corporate government is where you work. It has everything to do with the economy. It has everything to do with your place of work, your career, everything which has to do with the money is all about the corporate government. I say there are 4 governments. We have done the family government, we have done the church government, now we are doing the corporate government, and then next it will be the civil government, which is run by politicians. But today we're going to talk about the corporate government. Hello guys, thanks for watching. I'm Cleophas Wanyama, Cleo with it. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel if you're watching me for the first time, and share the videos, like and drop a comment. And if you want to donate, use the information at the description box or at the comment section, which have been below. In this channel, we talk about the deep things of God in Christ Jesus. Deep things of God. Now, the corporate government, we say that there's 7 pillars. The first pillar is the king. King sits on the throne. The throne has got 3 foundation stones: altars, gates, and covenants. Then there's a scepter. Then there's a council of elders. Then we have the messengers, and we have the subjects. Those are the 7 pillars of the kingdom. Now, in the corporate setting, in a company setting, we have the king. The king is the CEO, and I'm going to use my stool as to demonstrate, like I usually do. This one over here. Now, this is an example of a throne, because I said that the throne has got 3 legs. The throne, the spiritual throne of any place, has got 3 legs. This way in heaven, we have the Trinity, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. And that's why even mankind is spirit, soul, and body. Any throne has got 3 legs. But now, in the realm of the physical, it's not the same. It has 4. But the realm of the spirit, when I talk about thrones, I'm talking about spiritual thrones. I've got 3 stones, 3 legs on which they stand on, which gives it stability. Now, the king of any company, any corporate, is the CEO. It can be the CEO, it can be the chairman, it can be the owner, it can be the director, the managing director, depending with the structure of the company. Now, the king, let me use in this instant that the king is the CEO. Now, the CEO is the king. Now, the CEO must have a throne, must have an office. What gives the king power is the office. What gives the CEO power are the office of the office of the CEO. The man can be a useless man, but the moment he assumes that office, there's a power which backs that office. Anybody can be a stupid man, but the moment you are sworn in as a president, you have power because that office carries power. So a king must have an office, and the office of a king is the throne. That's why I say, now the first pillar is the king, which is the CEO. The CEO has a throne, the office of the CEO. Now, which is the throne, which is representative of this chair here. Now, the throne has got 3 foundation stones, which are the altars, the covenants, and the gates. The altars, the covenants, and the gates. Now, when we talk about the altars in a company setting, the altar, the first foundation stone, remember, we have done the king. The king is the first pillar. The second pillar is the throne, which is the office of the king, where the king sits upon. So the king is the CEO in the company setting. The throne is the office of the CEO. Now the throne has got 3 foundation stones, which now bring us to is it the 3rd pillar or the 4th pillar? The king, the throne, fire. The 3rd pillar. The 3rd pillar is the foundation stones of the throne, which are the altars, the gates, the covenants. The 3rd pillar is the foundation stones of the throne, which are the altars, the gates, and the covenants. Now, altars are very important. Let's talk about the altars. Now, every company has a belief system. You know, most of the people you're deceived. You think that companies, they just thrive because of their hard work alone. Yes, there's a place of hard work. There's a place of diligence. There's a place of excellence, and I don't dispute that. But now, there's something more to the physical. Every company, every institution always has a belief system. They may not declare it public publicly, but they do have a belief system. Now, for instance, you can find many companies which are owned by Muslims. They are run by Muslims' belief system. You find that in such companies which are run by Muslims, you find there is a prayer room. They always have a prayer room in their place of work. Have you seen buildings which are owned by Muslims have a place of prayer? It's like they built a mini mosque for people to pray. That's an altar. That's an altar which has been built in that institution. So companies which are headed by Muslims or owned by Muslims, they usually have the Islamic altar. They have the altar of Islam. They have mosques or the place of prayer in their institutions, company, building. Now, if it is owned by a Christian, Christians can have, there are also belief system which can affect the company. So, the belief system of the company really affects the company a lot. The belief system. Now, there are companies whose CEO, they go to witch doctors to receive power so that their company can remain relevant. There are people who have joined secret societies like the Illuminatis, like the Freemasons, so that their businesses can thrive and become relevant. And unfortunately, most people they don't tend to get these things because they are too beyond their understanding. So they cannot put it together. So as a result, they reject it. Ladies and gentlemen, these stories you hear about Illuminatis and secret societies, they are true. I've seen people who have been part of that group. So you find when a company, the CEO, and let me tell you something, the devil usually likes top officials, managers, people who are in the corporate ladder, highest point of the corporate ladder. The devil usually likes them to sell their souls to him, and then he gives them power, to have influence in their places of work. Now, this is why you find that a CEO can be a member of the Freemasonry, and because of that, the altar of Freemason is going to speak in that company. The altar, because every company must have a belief system. Now, everybody else, the employees may not believe what the CEO believes. May not have the same belief as the CEO. It's possible, but now being a leader, the leader is everything. Because when Adam ate the fruit, God did not talk to Eve. God talked to Adam, because he was the leader. He says, "Strike the shepherd, and the flock will scatter." So you find if the CEO is in Freemason or the Illuminati, the covenants he has in the Illuminati will tend to affect this company. This is why I tell people, you don't know about these things. You are working in a company, you are paid a lot of money. You think that it's because you are hardworking or the company is good, but you don't know that your bosses or the owners of those companies, the CEO of those companies, they have entered a covenant with the devil. And that covenant empowers that company to do what in the marketplace, because the devil can make somebody rich. He told Jesus, "If you bow down to me, I'll give you everything, all the riches of the world." So you work in a company, you think that it's because the company is, it's doing well. You don't know what the owners are doing in the secret place. You don't know where the owners of the companies are going just to make the company, grow. Yes, it's good to have the marketing, the excellence, and the diligence, and hard work and everything, but that's not enough. There has to be a spiritual aspect which supports and backs the company so it can become stable. Life is spiritual, my dear brother and sister. So this is where the altar comes in. There are so many CEOs who have altars. They come into that position through altars. I've had a story of a certain corporation here in Kenya, and it was headed by a local person from the area, from that area where the corporation is. But now the government decided to transfer that person and bring another person from another region, who didn't come from the local place where the corporation is. Now, the new CEO who came into that place could not sit in that office. Anytime he sat on that office, he would see things, he would be whipped. He could not sit in that office. He had to rent another office outside the company's building. Just imagine. Until, I don't know, they did something, that's when he was able to sit in that office. I'm telling you, in fact, in the area of corporate, a lot of people are using spiritual powers to maintain their influence, to maintain their growth, to maintain their, everything which they need to have a successful business. And many people are blind to these things. So altars affect so much the business, the corporate government. Altars affect so much. There are so many businesses which are supported by altars. You think it's their knowledge, or you think it's because they have invested a lot. It's true. That's what you see in the physical. But what you see in the physical is a report card of what happened in the realm of the spirit. So many businesses have altars which back them. Don't be deceived. Many businesses must have an altar. So you're looking at your CEO, you think that he's a CEO just because he's a smart guy. Yeah, I'm not against him being smart. He can be smart, but most of the people, there are places where they go at night so that they can maintain that position. If you only listen, somebody, I came across somebody who had dropped a taxi driver. He had dropped somebody at the Freemason Hall, and he was waiting for that person to pay. So, out of curiosity, he went to read. There's a place where they written the names of the members of the Freemasonry, and I don't know, like you find it in the Anglican churches how they write the names of the members, like that. I'm not saying that the Anglican church is involved. No, I'm just giving an example. So he went and to read the members of the Freemasons, which were written in a certain notice board. He was shocked to find that most of the managers in various companies in this city are fellowshipping at the altars of Freemason. And you are here, you think that you're just smart, you think that you just work hard. It's not enough. Life is spiritual. Even the Bible tells us it's not by power, not by might, but by the Spirit, says the Lord. So altars affect so much the corporate business. The reason why your business is failing is because there is no altar which backs it. I've seen, listen, there are people who can tell you, the people who have been in business, they have the education, they have the quality, they have the knowledge, they have the excellence, they have the marketing, they have done everything, and yet nothing is growing. They are making losses after losses. And they have gone for spiritual help, and after contacting spiritual help and connected to an altar, their business began to flourish. You need an altar. You need an altar. Now, this I talked about the altar. I've dealt so much about the altar of the corporate. Now at the altar you have the covenants. Now there are covenants which are made in corporate government. There are covenants. Now the covenants, they're in two ways. There are spiritual covenants and there are physical covenants. Now the spiritual covenant is whereby maybe the CEO, that company, they are meant to fulfill a certain spiritual requirement for them to continue to flourish. There are some requirements which has to be made. For instance, slaughtering maybe an animal, blood sacrifice. Now that's a covenant which has to be made. When people raise altars, covenants are made. So altars, gates, and covenants go together, because when you raise an altar, it's not enough. You have to do sacrifice. When a sacrifice has been done on the altar, a covenant has been made. So they go together. So this place of covenants, the covenants, for instance, for the Muslims, they're supposed to pray. When the time for prayer comes, everybody should stop what they're doing. They go to pray in the prayer room which they have set aside in that company. You see, that's the covenant which backs that company. That's a demand. That's a covenant demand which has to be fulfilled. For a Christian, you should have a place of prayer in a place of work. Now, as a Christians, as businesses ought to pay tithes. Business ought to pay offerings. Businesses ought to give sacrificial offering. Yes, if you want your business to grow, give sacrificial offering to help the work of God. That's how you tap into power. Listen, you are competing with people who are giving human sacrifices. And you're just, God doesn't want you to kill anybody. You're just told to donate to the work of God. Giving you will not giving will always be there, regardless of we having fake preachers. But it will not change the principles of God. There's some level you'll never enter until you give. There's some dimensions of breakthrough you'll never see until you give, regardless of your prayer and your fasting. It's very important to know that. So, as a Christians, your business should be giving offering, should giving sacrificial giving to promote the work of the kingdom. That's when you connect with the anointing, you connect with power to take your business to the next level. This is a principle and the topic of another day. Now, these are covenants. Now, in another, that's the spiritual side of the covenant. In the physical side of the covenant, now these are the contracts which are found in the company. We have the contracts, the policies, the company policies. Now, when you enter the company, unless it's a Muslim company, you know not be told about prayer and everything. When you enter, when you join a company, you will be given a contract, the rules and the regulations. You do this is what you're supposed to do. The values of the company, the core values of the company, the vision of the company, the mandate of the company. All this and also the covenants, because another word for covenant is contract. So that's how this was another part of the covenant, which are the contracts, the rules, the policies which run the company is part of the covenant. Now we have the gates. The last one is the gates. This is still part of the throne. Now the gates in the company, gates are the influence which the company has in the society. When a company has an altar, has covenants, the results are the influence. That's why you find the company, such companies are very influential. Why? Because they have raised altars, they have sacrificed. Because once you sacrifice, you create a covenant, and after they've created a covenant, life patterns are made, and then gates are possessed. That's why you find companies are influential. Why? It's because of the altars and the covenants. When you have an altar, you make a covenant, you possess gates. The ones who possess gates, they become influential. This is why you find some companies are very influential. Why? Because they possess gates. Gates of the economy, they possess gates of the society, they are very influential because of the gates which they have possessed. Now these are part of the foundation stones of the throne. Foundation stones of the throne. Now this is the corporate government. Now we have talked about the king, which is the CEO. The CEO has an office, which is the throne, and then the throne has 3 foundation stones, which are the altars, gates, and covenants. I've tried to explain myself extensively in that area. And then number 4, we have another pillar. We have the scepter. Now, the scepter of the company is the goods or the services the companies provide. For instance, telecommunication company, like for us, we have in Kenya, Safaricom. Their services, the credit, the cards, which the Airtel cards which they sell, the internet which they sell to people. That is the scepter. The scepter is what they offer, because what they offer is what gives them power. Because without them offering that thing, whatever thing they're offering, the market can be affected in one way or another. So if you have a business, the product which you produce, if you own a bakery, that bread is your scepter. The bread is because it's what gives you power. It's what you make the bread, you sell it, gives you money, you pay your staff. So anything you do, if you have a salon, the services which you offer, that's your scepter. If you're selling electronics, the electronics you sell, that is your scepter. The scepter is the goods and the services which you offer, because that's what gives you money. Because scepter is power. Without scepter, there's no authority. Without anything, if a company has all the thrones, the foundation, and there's nothing you're selling, there's no influence. What can you influence? You influence people on what you offer. If right now Facebook goes off, people will suffer because businesses are used to run ads using Facebook. So you see, Facebook becomes the scepter. The services which Facebook offers become the scepter of that company. Now, that's the 4th one. The 5th one are the Council of Elders. Now, the Council of Elders those are the board members of the company. Every company must have the board members, the chairman, secretary. They elect them every time, and then now the Council of Elders are the board members of the company. And then we have the messengers. Now the messengers, these are the staff. These are the staff who are employed, the staff, they can be subordinate staff, they can, the regular staff, can be senior staff. All the staff of a company, they are called messengers. Why? Because their work is to serve. Anybody who's employed is a serviceman. He serves. That's why you call them goods and services. You serve either by providing goods, there's something you're offering. So you become a messenger. Somebody who is sent to do something good, sent to provide goods, sent to provide services. So the messengers become the staff, the people who are employed by the company. And then the subjects become the general public or your customers. They become your subject. Now those are the 7 pillars of the kingdom, how it affects the corporate government. If you have not understood, kindly go and watch the video which I've talked about the throne of government to give you the foundation of this teaching. I hope you are blessed by this teaching, and see you in the next video. God bless you.